Listen closely. This is not a debate. This is not a discussion about morality, or fairness, or being politically correct. This is a survival guide for your future. We live in an era where the cost of choosing the wrong partner has never been higher. I'm not just talking about money, although she can certainly take half of everything you've built in a divorce court. I'm talking about something far more valuable: your time, your sanity, your ability to trust, and your biological legacy. Most men walk into relationships with a blindfold on. They operate on hope. They operate on what society tells them they should tolerate. They ignore the visceral gut feelings screaming at them to run, all because she's beautiful, or because the sex is good, or because they are terrified of being alone. And by the time they realize their mistake, the trap has already snapped shut. You need to understand that relationship disasters are rarely accidents. They are predictable outcomes of specific behavioral patterns. There are women who, due to their past choices, their psychological conditioning, and their unresolved traumas, are objectively incapable of forming the bond you are looking for. They are not bad people, necessarily, but they are dangerous partners. Today, we are going deeper than we ever have before. We are going to dissect the 7 specific archetypes of women that you must avoid at all costs. We are going to analyze the psychology behind their behavior, the subtle red flags that most men miss until it's too late, and the devastating long-term consequences of inviting them into your life. If you value your peace, if you value your future, do not skip a second of this video. Let's begin. The first archetype is perhaps the most deceptive because, on the surface, she looks like the perfect candidate. She is type 1, the serial monogamist. When you meet her, she seems safe. She's not the girl who sleeps around. She's not the one with a chaotic history of one-night stands. In fact, she will tell you proudly, "I'm a relationship girl. I don't do casual." And you'll think, great, she values commitment, but then you look closer, you ask about her history, and you find a pattern that is mathematically impossible to sustain. She is 28 years old, and she has had 12 serious boyfriends in the last 10 years. Do the math. That means she has been in a constant state of relationship rotation since she was a teenager. Why is this dangerous? Because the serial monogamist is not addicted to you. She is addicted to not being alone, because she suffers from a profound inability to sit with herself. This is often rooted in deep codependency or a lack of self-identity. Have you ever noticed that her hobbies, her music taste, and even her political opinions seem to change based on who she is dating? That is because she is an identity parasite. She adopts the personality of the man she is with because she has none of her own. She uses men as emotional life rafts. The moment one relationship hits a rough patch, or the moment the initial chemical high of dopamine and oxytocin wears off, usually around the 6 to 12 month mark, she checks out. But she doesn't leave immediately. No, she waits until she has lined up the next love of her life. This is the classic monkey branching technique. She never lets go of one branch until her hand is firmly grasping the next one. This woman creates a simulation of intimacy. She mimics the behaviors of a wife or a long-term partner very quickly. She moves in fast. She says, "I love you" within weeks. She posts you all over social media. It feels intense. It feels real. But it is hollow. It is a performance she has rehearsed with a dozen men before you. Think about the baggage she carries. She has monkey branched from branch to branch for a decade. She has never taken the time to heal, to process a breakup, or to learn who she is outside of a couple. She is bringing the unresolved trauma, the comparison, and the behavioral habits of 12 other men into your living room. You aren't just dating her. You are dating the ghosts of every man she never properly grieved. When you date the serial monogamist, you're not a person to her. You're a role. You're simply current boyfriend. You're filling a vacancy, and the terrifying reality is this. The moment the novelty fades with you, the moment you have a real human flaw, the moment things get boring, she will trigger the boredom cycle. She will start picking fights. She will start withdrawing affection. She will start looking for your replacement while sleeping in your bed. And eventually, she will discard you with zero empathy, doing to you exactly what she did to the 12 men before you. You are just a temporary fix for her permanent fear of solitude. Let's move to type 2. This is the archetype that tricks the good guy the most often. This is the reformed party girl. She sits across from you on a date. She's charming. She's fun. But then she starts talking about her past. She tells you stories about her wild years, the years in college, the years in the city, the weekends that were a blur of alcohol, drugs, VIP tables, and a rotating cast of high-status men, DJs, or random hookups. But then she looks you in the eye and says the magic words, "I'm done with that phase. I've grown up. I'm ready for something real now. I want a nice guy. I want a provider." Here is the brutal truth that society doesn't want you to acknowledge. You cannot isolate the present from the past. Human behavior is a continuum, and biology keeps the score. The reformed party girl is dangerous for 3 specific reasons. First is the concept of alpha widowhood. She has spent her prime years experiencing the absolute peak of sexual excitement, typically with men who are exciting, unpredictable, bad boys, or extremely high status but unwilling to commit to her. She imprinted on that chaos. She imprinted on that high-intensity validation. Her brain associates love with anxiety and drama. Now, she is settling for you. You provide stability, you provide the house, the safety, the resources, but you cannot compete with the ghosts of her past. Deep down, she finds the stability boring. She resents you for being the safe option she had to settle for because she aged out of the party scene. In the bedroom, those men got her enthusiasm, her experimentation, and her raw passion. You get starfish sex. You get the duty sex. You get the version of her that is tired and feels she has done it all already. Second is the mechanism of change. Did she stop partying because she had a moral awakening? Did she realize that lifestyle was empty, or did she stop simply because she got tired, or because the market stopped responding to her the same way most of these women didn't change their values? They simply hit the wall. They retired from the sport because they could no longer compete, not because they hated the game. If she retired from the party life rather than repenting from it, the desire is still there. Third is the damage to her dopamine receptors. Years of seeking high-intensity validation through casual intimacy and substance abuse rewires the brain. It makes normal, healthy, slow-burning love feel dull. She will constantly crave the chaos. This manifests as her sabotaging the relationship when things are going too well. She will manufacture drama just to feel something. If you marry the reformed party girl, you're essentially paying full price for a luxury car that has been driven into the ground by reckless drivers who paid nothing. You're inheriting the damage, the trauma, and the dissatisfaction. You're working 60 hours a week to provide a lifestyle for a woman who is secretly fantasizing about the irresponsible men from her past. Do not be the retirement plan for a woman who wouldn't have looked twice at you when she was in her prime. Type 3 is the source of more gaslighting in modern relationships than any other. She is the one with many guy friends. You know this woman. She claims to be one of the guys. She says she just gets along better with men because girls are too much drama. She has a phone full of contacts named Mike from gym, Dave Work, ex-boyfriend Brian. She maintains a constant orbit of 5, 10, maybe 15 men. She goes for coffee with them. She texts them late at night. She keeps her exes around as best friends. And if you dare to question this, if you dare to express that this makes you uncomfortable, she flips the script. She attacks you. She calls you insecure. She calls you controlling. She says, "We're just friends. Why don't you trust me? You're being toxic." This is a psychological trap known as plausible deniability. She keeps the interactions just innocent enough on the surface so she can defend them. But underneath, there is a current of sexual tension or emotional intimacy that she refuses to cut off. These men are not her friends. These men are orbiters. They are break glass in case of emergency options. They are men who are sexually attracted to her, waiting in the shadows for a crack in your relationship so they can slide in, and she knows it. A woman always knows when a man desires her. By keeping them around, she is actively keeping doors open that should be welded shut. Why does she do this? Because she feeds on external validation. A woman who respects her partner and values the sanctity of her relationship understands intuitively that intimate one-on-one relationships with other men create a threat to the primary bond. By keeping these men around, she is sending a very clear message. You are not enough. She needs the external validation of these other males to sustain her ego. She enjoys the fact that they desire her. She likes knowing that if you and her get into a fight, she has Brian or Mike ready to listen to her complain and offer her a shoulder to cry on. This is called micro-cheating. She is outsourcing the emotional connection that belongs to you to another man. This creates a dynamic called triangulation. She creates a triangle between you, her, and these other men. It keeps you off balance. It makes you compete for her attention against ghosts. It keeps you working harder to please her, while she sits back and harvests the attention. Furthermore, This is a sign of monkey branching preparation. A woman who is fully committed burns the boats. She doesn't keep a fleet of lifeboats ready in the harbour. If she keeps her exes and thirsty guy friends close, she is ensuring that she never has to face the void of being single. The moment she discards you, she will swing to one of these friends effortlessly. In fact, the guy she tells you not to worry about is usually the guy she ends up with next. Do not tolerate the orbiters. A woman who insists on keeping a harem of male attention is not ready for a monogamous commitment. She is running a business, and you are just the primary investor for now. Type 4 is a product of the modern digital age and the hyperinflated dating market. She is the covert sugar baby. She won't call herself a sugar baby. She might even be offended if you use that term. She hides behind terms like high maintenance or knowing my worth. But look at the evidence. Look at the mismatch between her income and her outcome. She works a job that pays $40,000 a year, perhaps as a receptionist or a junior marketing assistant. Yet her lifestyle screams millionaire's wife. Her Instagram is full of photos from Dubai, Tulum, and the Amalfi Coast. She owns designer bags, Birkins, Chanel that cost 3 months of her salary. She stays in 5-star hotels. When you ask how, she's vague. I saved up. A friend treated me. I was invited. Here is the reality. She has learned to monetize her presence. She has been dating men significantly older and wealthier than her, trading her beauty and sexual access for lifestyle upgrades. She views relationships as transactional exchanges. She has been conditioned to believe that her mere presence commands a high price tag. Why is this destructive to you? Because it fundamentally warps her ability to bond through struggle or genuine connection. She's destroyed her dopamine reward system regarding love. In a healthy relationship, a couple bonds by building something together. You start small, you struggle, you grow, and that shared struggle creates a deep, unbreakable knot. But for the covert sugar baby, the destination matters more than the journey. She doesn't want to build the castle with you. She wants to wait at the finish line for the man who already owns the castle. To her, love is expressed strictly through material provision. If you are not providing a lifestyle that exceeds what she can get from a 50-year-old executive or a sponsor, she feels like she is losing value. She has been conditioned to believe that intimacy is a currency, and she expects a return on investment every time she sleeps with you. Acts of service, emotional support, loyalty. These things mean very little to her compared to a Cartier bracelet or a flight to Paris. Why? Because she has trained herself to dissociate emotion from intimacy. She had to sleep with men she wasn't attracted to for money or trips. She had to turn off her heart. Now that she is with you, she can't turn it back on. Furthermore, there is a deep, often unspoken resentment in these women. Deep down, but they know they have been objectified. They know the men who flew them out didn't respect them. They carry that baggage, but they also become addicted to the ease of life it provided. This is the golden handcuffs effect. She hates the game, but she loves the prizes. If you date this woman, you will never know if she loves you or if she loves what you can do for her. You will constantly feel the pressure to perform financially. You are not her partner. You are her ATM with a heartbeat. And the moment your resources dip, or the moment a better offer comes along that can provide a higher tier of luxury, she will rationalize leaving you. She will say, you can't provide the life I deserve. She is a mercenary, not a partner. Type 5 hits closer to home, literally. This is the woman who has been with your social circle. She dated your friend Mark 2 years ago. She had a fling with your co-worker. She's been seen leaving the apartment of that guy from your gym. And now she's looking at you. This is not just about jealousy. This is about biological programming, social standing, and the lazy hunter theory. First, let's talk about biology. Men have a visceral evolutionary instinct to avoid women who have been sexually intimate with their tribe. It triggers paternity uncertainty alarms in the deep, primal parts of your brain. It creates disgust. This is nature's way of preventing conflict within the hunting party. When you ignore this gut feeling, you are fighting millions of years of evolution. But beyond biology, there is the devastating social dynamic. If you commit to a woman who has been with your friends or peers, you are automatically lowering your status in the hierarchy. You are taking the seconds. You are accepting what another man in your circle has already experienced and discarded. Think about the gathering. You bring her to a party, you are holding her hand, thinking you won, but you know that Mark across the room knows exactly what she sounds like in bed. You know that your other friend knows her secrets, her kinks, and her flaws. There is an information asymmetry that puts you at a disadvantage. They know things about your woman that you don't. And when you leave the room, they aren't looking at you with respect. They are looking at you with a mix of pity and amusement. You become the beta who cleaned up the alpha's mess. And you have to ask yourself, why is she cycling through the same group of men? Is she incapable of branching out? This behavior reveals a lazy hunter mentality. She fishes in the same pond because it's easy. She relies on the social proof of the group rather than finding a partner on her own merit. It also suggests she thrives on the drama and the incestuous nature of sleeping within a clique. She likes being the center of attention in a group of men who are all connected. This woman destroys friend groups. She is a Trojan horse. She enters the group under the guise of dating one man, but her presence creates tension, jealousy, and awkwardness. Brothers turn against brothers, the bro code disintegrates. The shared sexual history becomes an elephant in the room that never leaves. And what happens when you break up because you will? Does she leave the circle? No, she moves to the next friend who is weak enough to accept her. Do not sacrifice the respect of your peers for a woman who has already made the rounds. A woman who respects herself and respects you, understands that your social circle is off limits. If she values you, she wouldn't risk your reputation. The fact that she is willing to date you after dating your friend proves she doesn't care about your honor. She only cares about her own security. Type 6 is the most common archetype in the West today, and perhaps the most normalized. She is the social media addict. I'm not talking about a woman who has an Instagram account to share photos of her dog or her family. I'm talking about the woman whose online presence is a curated shrine to her own vanity. Every photo is a thirst trap. Bikini shots, gym angles designed to highlight her glutes, provocative poses, suggestive captions. She has 5,000, 10,000, maybe 50,000 followers. And if you look at the comments, it is a sea of thirsty men dropping fire emojis, offering to fly her out, telling her she's a goddess, and she engages with it. She posts stories specifically designed to elicit a reaction. She lives for the dopamine hit of the notification. This type is dangerous because she is addicted to massive-scale validation. In a traditional relationship, your attention and your compliment should be enough, but for the social media addict, the attention of one man, even a high-value man, is a drop in the ocean compared to the tsunami of attention she gets online every day. You cannot compete with the internet. She is signaling sexual availability to the world 24/7. Even if she is technically faithful to you physically, she is engaging in digital infidelity constantly. She is keeping her options open. She is advertising her goods on the open market while telling you that the store is closed. Furthermore, this obsession with image indicates deep narcissism. She views herself as the main character of a movie, and you are just a supporting actor, a prop to take the photos, or a wallet to fund the lifestyle she needs to display. Her mental health is fragile. It is tethered to the algorithm. If her engagement drops, her mood drops. If she gets a negative comment, her day is ruined. You will find yourself playing therapist to a woman whose self-worth is entirely external. Do not build a private life with a woman who belongs to the public. If she needs the applause of thousands of strangers to feel whole, your love will never be enough to fill that void. And finally, we arrive at type 7, the most insidious or the most dangerous, the one who lies about her number and everything else. You ask her about her past. She looks you in the eye and says, "I've only been with 3 people, but something doesn't add up. Her behavior, her skills in the bedroom, the slip-ups in her stories, the timeline gaps, it all suggests a number much, much higher." Maybe you find out later the truth is 30 or 40 or 50. Why is this the most dangerous type? It's not just about the number itself, although the data is crystal clear that high partner counts correlate with higher divorce rates, infidelity, and bonding incapacity. The real danger here is the deception. This is informed consent fraud. You have the right to know who you're investing your life in. You have the right to assess risk. When she lies about her sexual history, she is deliberately manipulating your perception of reality to secure your commitment. She knows that if you knew the truth, you might not choose her. So she takes that choice away from you. This reveals a fundamental character flaw. If she can lie to your face about the most intimate parts of her history, what else is she lying about? Is she lying about her debts? Is she lying about her birth control? Is she lying about where she was last night? This type often uses a technique called trickle truth. She admits to a little bit. Then, when confronted with evidence, she admits a little more. She makes you drag the truth out of her inch by painful inch. This destroys trust. It turns the relationship into an interrogation. She is a chameleon. She mirrors what she thinks you want to hear. She pretends to have your values, your morals, your low-time preference, but it is a mask, and masks always slip. When you discover the lie and you always will the foundation of the relationship collapses, you realize you fell in love with a character she invented, not the woman she actually is. So we have identified the 7 types: the serial monogamist, the reformed party girl, the orbiter queen, the covert sugar baby, the circulus hopper, the social media narcissist, and the liar. The evidence is often right in front of our faces. So why do we ignore it? Why do smart, successful, rational men walk directly into these traps? It comes down to 3 fatal weaknesses in the modern male psyche. First, the scarcity mindset. Most men operate from a place of desperation. They believe that beauty is rare. They believe that this woman is their last chance at happiness. They are terrified of walking away because they don't trust their ability to find someone better. This fear makes them compromise. It makes them rationalize the red flags. Oh, she's not that bad, they tell themselves, while she is texting her ex-boyfriend in the bathroom. Second, the captain save a hoe complex. Men are natural fixers. We want to be heroes. When we see a damaged woman, a woman with a tragic past, a woman who seems lost, our instinct is to save her. We think, I can fix her. My love will be the thing that changes her. This is the ultimate arrogance. You cannot fix a woman's psychological wiring. You cannot love away her trauma. You cannot undo a decade of bad choices with your stability. She doesn't need a savior. She needs a therapist. And you are not qualified for that job. When you try to save her, you don't pull her up, she pulls you down. Third, cultural conditioning. For the last 50 years, society has shamed men for having standards. We are told that caring about a woman's past is insecure. We are told that judging her sexual history is misogynistic. We are bombarded with media that tells us the empowered woman does whatever she wants, and the good man accepts it without question. This is a lie designed to strip you of your leverage, protecting your future, protecting your lineage, and demanding a partner who is capable of bonding is not insecurity, it is strategy, it is wisdom, it is self-respect. So, what is the alternative? If you strip away these 7 types, who is left? The pool is smaller, yes. The search will be harder, yes, but the reward is a life of peace rather than a life of chaos. You are looking for a woman with an intact bonding capacity. This is a woman who has a history of stability, not chaos, a woman who values privacy over public validation, a woman who has a low partner count, not because she was forced to, but because she valued herself enough to be selective, a woman who respects boundaries without you having to enforce them constantly, a woman whose actions match her words. To find this woman, you must become the gatekeeper of your own life. You must stop giving your commitment away for free. You must stop being afraid to walk away. The strongest negotiating position you will ever have is the ability to walk away and mean it. The 7 types we discussed today are not just cautionary tales. They are statistical probabilities of failure. If you ignore these patterns, you are gambling with your future, and the house always wins. Don't let loneliness dictate your choices. Don't let sexual desire blind you to character defects. The pain of discipline is far less than the pain of regret. Now, knowing what to avoid is only half the battle. The other half is knowing how to screen, how to test, and how to attract the high-value women who are actually worth your time. You need a system. You need a code. The high-value woman code is the complete framework for navigating the modern dating minefield. It breaks down the psychology of attraction, the subtle tests women use on men, and the precise vetting strategy you need to secure a quality partner. It is linked in the description below. If you are serious about not becoming another statistic, get it. And if this analysis opened your eyes, if it gave words to a gut feeling you've ignored for too long, do 3 things for me. 1, subscribe. We are building a community of men who refuse to live in the dark. 2, like this video to help the algorithm save other men. 3, comment below. Tell me, which of these 7 types have you encountered? Share your story. Your experience might be the warning that saves another man's life. The past matters. Patterns predict the future. Choose wisely.